Space was silent, but silence didn't mean peace. Beyond the frozen edge of the Orion Spur, fleets gathered like storms on the black horizon. The Varn Dominion, rulers of 1,000 worlds, had come to make Earth bend the knee. Their armadas spanned sectors, a glittering sea of warships powered by dark energy cores and arrogance. They had conquered empires older than Earth's solar system. Humanity, to them, was a forgotten footnote, a primitive species that had clawed its way into the stars too late. But then, their long-range scanners found something. A distortion, faint, irregular, rippling through subspace from the Sol system. It wasn't natural. It wasn't a distress signal. It was something else. Something vast. On the Dominion flagship Vrax Eternal, Admiral Char Kor leaned forward on his command dais, for golden eyes narrowing. "Rewind and amplify that trace," he ordered. His voice vibrated like thunder through the ship's neural core. The analysis came seconds later. A field signature, gravitational displacement, quantum static. "Impossible," muttered his second officer. "No vessel that large could survive a jump through." The sensors screamed. Reality tore. A blinding fracture appeared in the void between Jupiter and Saturn. For 3 seconds, space itself bent inward, then exploded outward in a wave of light so intense that Dominion sensors went offline across the entire system. And when vision returned, it was there. A ship. No, a fortress. A moving continent of steel and black alloys. Over 15 kilometers in length, with armor plating thicker than any dreadnought in known space. Its hull shimmered with faint heat signatures, as if it had come from somewhere far hotter than the heart of a sun. The transponder blinked once. ID, TSV Leviathan. Origin, Earth. Admiral Kor felt his pulse race, a sensation he hadn't known in centuries. "They named it after a myth," he whispered. "How human." Back on Earth, the mood inside Command Complex Epsilon, buried beneath the Colorado Rockies, was electric. Rows of officers and analysts filled the cavernous war room, faces bathed in the glow of holographic displays. The massive screen at the front showed a real-time feed of the Leviathan as it emerged from the void, its silhouette blotting out stars. "Telemetry is stable," reported Commander Elena Ward, voice tight with awe. "All systems green across the board. Jump integrity, 99.4%. General Marcus Hale, grizzled and calm, folded his arms. "How's she handling first contact?" Elena glanced at the sensor data. "Sir, Dominion fleets are mobilizing. Over 3,000 capital ships converging on Sol. They're broadcasting demands for surrender." Hale exhaled slowly, eyes narrowing. "Then I suppose we answer." He leaned closer to the console and keyed in a direct link to the Leviathan. "Captain Reyes," he said, "the galaxy's watching. Let's show them what Earth built in the dark." On board the Leviathan, Captain Aaron Reyes stood on the command deck, a vast cathedral of steel and holographic light. The ship's main viewport spanned half the bridge, offering a breathtaking panorama of Saturn's rings, and beyond them, a swarm of red icons representing Dominion warships. Reyes had been in the Navy for 20 years. He'd fought in skirmishes at Proxima, seen colonies burn under alien bombardments. But nothing compared to this. Dominion fleets on approach vector, his XO, Lieutenant Jordan Blake, reported. ETA 12 minutes. "That's a lot of firepower, sir." Reyes nodded. "Good. Saves us the trouble of hunting them down." "Are we sure we're ready?" Blake asked quietly. Reyes didn't look away from the stars. "We didn't build this ship to run, Jordan." The Dominion fleet advanced like a swarm of hornets, their engines lighting the void in cruel red. Admiral Kor issued his ultimatum through every channel. "Humans of Sol, you are surrounded. Your ship, no matter how large, will be reduced to debris. Stand down and surrender your world to Dominion authority. Defiance will bring extinction." Captain Reyes watched the transmission play on the holoscreen. Then he smiled faintly. "Extinction," he murmured. "They always say that." "Sir?" Blake asked. Reyes stepped forward. "Target the lead battlecruiser." Prepare the Nova Array. The crew froze. The Nova Array had never been tested in real combat. It was a weapon designed not to kill ships, but to erase entire fleets. Blake hesitated. Firing that close to the rings could destabilize. Do it, Reyes said. The message has to be clear. Outside, the Leviathan's lower hull split apart in silence, revealing a massive circular structure spinning up with blinding energy. The void around it began to ripple, gravity distorting as particles were torn apart at the quantum level. Admiral Cor's sensors went wild. What is that weapon? Then, light. A single, contained beam of condensed stellar energy erupted outward. It didn't travel in a straight line, it unfolded through space, a wave of annihilation bending reality itself. The first Dominion cruiser vanished instantly, vaporized. Then the second. Then the rest, hundreds of ships disintegrated as the beam expanded like a blooming flower of death. In 30 seconds, the Dominion Vanguard, 200 ships strong, was gone. The wave dissipated, leaving only silence and fragments of glowing metal drifting through the void. On the Leviathan's bridge, no one spoke. The silence felt heavier than the blast itself. Reyes finally broke it. Send a message, he said. To every Dominion frequency. Yes, sir, Blake said. What should it say? Reyes looked straight ahead. Tell them. Earth stands. In the Dominion flagship, Admiral Cor stared at the empty void where his fleet had been. His claws dug into the command rail, trembling. Never, not in all their conquests, had the Dominion witnessed such devastation from a single vessel. His comms officer turned to him, voice trembling. Orders, Admiral? Cor's eyes narrowed. Transmit to all fleets. Recalculate formation. Deploy the Wraith Titans. He turned toward the stars, jaw tight. If humanity wants war, he growled, we'll bring them the apocalypse. But deep within, for the first time in his long and merciless life, Admiral Cor felt fear. Because what he saw on that human ship's hull etched into the metal in bold, white lettering was not just a name. It was a declaration. TSV Leviathan, Earth's mightiest ship. And in that moment, every Dominion sensor officer, every commander, every soldier across the heavens felt it too. The stars themselves seemed to tremble. The Dominion didn't retreat. They reorganized. Across the outer rim of Sol, hundreds of ships repositioned in perfect synchronicity, forming a lattice of shimmering crimson energy. The Wraith Titans, enormous capital-class behemoths, each the size of a small moon, glided into the formation center. They were the Dominion's ultimate weapons, their cores forged in the accretion disks of dying stars. No world had survived their combined assault. Until now, they had never been deployed in the same system. On board the Leviathan, Captain Aaron Reyes stood in the command deck's glow, his expression carved in stone. The destruction of the Dominion Vanguard had bought humanity time, but not peace. Sir, Lieutenant Jordan Blake said quietly, eyes scanning the data feeds, Dominion reinforcements are arriving from the Sol Gate. 6 more fleets. That's thousands of ships. The hum of the ship deepened. Reactor readings spiked as Leviathan's AI adjusted power distribution to defense systems. Reyes to engineering, the captain said. Status report. A rough, gravelly voice answered, Chief Engineer Monica Graves, half her face lit by plasma glow from deep within the ship's reactor chamber. Core's running at 98% stability. We can keep the Nova Array charged, but firing again that soon could burn the coil housings. Can you hold it together? Reyes asked. Graves grinned faintly. If it breaks, I'll weld it shut myself. Reyes nodded. That's why you're my chief. He turned to his tactical officer. Patch me through to Earth Command. Inside Command Complex Epsilon, General Marcus Hale stood beside Commander Elena Ward, both staring at the incoming data. Those are Titans, Elena whispered. They're positioning to strike the system from long range. If they fire their stellar lances, they'll glass everything from Mars to Luna, Hale finished grimly. Get every civilian ship behind the moon's shadow. Now. He opened the calm line to the Leviathan. Captain Reyes, you're facing the largest combined alien fleet in recorded history. Are you confident your ship can hold the line? Reyes' voice came through the static, calm and resolute. Sir, this ship wasn't built to hold the line. A pause. It was built to erase it. The Dominion Armada began to move. Across the void, energy flared like the birth of stars. The Wraith Titans unleashed their first salvo beams of pure stellar fire lancing towards Saturn's orbit, each one capable of boiling a planet's atmosphere. The Leviathan moved. Her gravity drives roared to life, space bending around her like a storm. The beams that would have consumed her simply missed, warped by gravitational shear fields. Brace for counterfire, Reyes commanded. From the Leviathan's hull, thousands of micro-batteries opened like eyes. Kinetic rods, antimatter torpedoes, and plasma bursts filled the void in every direction. Each projectile was guided by predictive AI, no guesswork, no mercy. The Dominion ships countered with their own shields and swarms of fighters. The battle became a storm of light and death, two civilizations locked in a cosmic ballet of annihilation. Inside the Leviathan, the deck shuddered violently. Forward shields down to 60%. Blake shouted. We're taking heavy plasma impacts. Redirect auxiliary power from cryo storage, Reyes ordered. Sir, that'll overload the lower reactors. Then vent them, Reyes said. We'll rebuild later. We don't get a later if we lose this. Meanwhile, deep in the Leviathan's core, Chief Graves worked like a demon. The heat was unbearable, coolant pipes screamed, the reactor's magnetic rings thrummed with unstable resonance. Her assistant yelled, the core's spiking past threshold. It's going to rupture. Graves slammed a manual override. Not today, she shouted, forcing the stabilizer back online as sparks rained around her. If this ship dies, Earth dies. Keep those fields locked. Back in the command deck, Blake wiped blood from a gash on his forehead. We can't keep trading shots like this. Reyes was silent for a long moment. Then his gaze hardened. We won't. We take the fight to them. Sir? Plot a direct course toward the lead Titan. Full speed. Blake's eyes widened. That's suicide. Reyes' voice was calm, too calm. Maybe. But history doesn't remember cowards. The Leviathan accelerated. The void rippled around it as the ship's quantum drive pushed spacetime itself to its breaking point. The crew felt the hull groan under the force. Distance to target, 3 million kilometers, Blake reported. The Dominion flagship Vrax Eternal locked onto the Leviathan. Admiral Char Kor snarled. That human ship dares approach us? His command deck was a storm of alien voices. Admiral, their trajectory. Fire everything. Kor roared. The Titans unleashed their wrath, a storm of annihilation so bright it painted Saturn's rings in fire. But when the light faded, the Leviathan was still there, emerging through the debris like a god of war. Its armor was scarred, glowing with molten streaks, but unbroken. Activate the Nova Array, Reyes ordered. Blake hesitated. Sir, it'll overload the ship. Reyes met his gaze. We were never meant to survive this long anyway. The order was given. The ship's central core roared, a soundless quake felt through every atom. The Nova Array spun up, light building to a crescendo that painted every Dominion sensor blind. Reyes whispered under his breath, for Earth. The beam fired. This time, it wasn't a single wave. It was a sustained eruption, a column of starfire that tore straight through the Wraith Titan line. The lead Titan imploded, its gravitational core collapsing inward, pulling surrounding ships into a chain reaction of destruction. The explosion expanded into a spiraling nebula of flame. The Dominion fleet, once endless, fractured, retreating in chaos. Inside the wreckage of the Vrax Eternal, Admiral Kor struggled to his feet, staring at the burning remains of his armada. His second officer's voice trembled. Admiral, orders? Kor's voice was hollow. Retreat. Pull back to Dominion space. He looked once more at the distant silhouette of the Leviathan, still burning, but alive. The humans have unleashed something we cannot stop. That ship is not a weapon. It is a warning. On the Leviathan's bridge, the lights flickered. Smoke filled the air. The crew cheered weakly, exhausted, bloodied, but alive. Blake looked to Reyes, voice hoarse. "Sir, we did it." Reyes smiled faintly, though his uniform was torn and his face bruised. "No, Jordan," he said softly. "We survived. That's not victory yet." The comm crackled, General Hale's voice coming through. "Leviathan, this is command. The Dominion fleet is retreating. You did it, Captain. You saved Earth." Reyes looked at the burning debris outside the viewport, the graves of thousands. "At what cost?" he whispered. He turned away from the carnage, toward the crew. "Damage control. Prep for immediate repairs. The Dominion will be back. And next time, they won't underestimate us." Far beyond Sol, in the cold void of interstellar space, fragments of the destroyed Titan drifted silently. Among them, one piece of alien alloy still pulsed faintly, transmitting a signal into the black. Coordinates. A message to the Dominion homeworld. And deep within that signal, hidden beneath layers of encryption, was a faint echo of human code inserted by Leviathan's AI moments before detonation. It reads simply: "We are coming." The signal traveled faster than light, racing across subspace, through wormgates, across the dark arteries of the galaxy. It reached the Dominion homeworld in 3 days. And when it arrived, the heavens themselves stirred. From the throne halls of Vaildar Prime, a high sovereign of the Dominion watched the recorded footage in silence, the last transmission of Admiral Char Kor before his defeat. The Leviathan's image burned across the air, the titanic vessel, wreathed in fire and vengeance. The court was silent. Billions of their kind had never known fear until now. "Summon the War Council," the sovereign said. "Humanity has declared war on the heavens." Back in the Sol system, Earth was healing. Cities rebuilt, skies cleared, and for the first time in generations, humanity stood united under one banner, the banner of the Terran Union. The Leviathan had returned to orbit, scarred but unbroken, her black armor now symbolizing the strength of Earth's will. Captain Aaron Reyes walked the quiet halls of his ship, the weight of battle still heavy on his shoulders. Every corridor bore signs of war, scorch marks, patched bulkheads, memorials etched with the names of the fallen. Lieutenant Jordan Blake caught up to him, datapad in hand. "Repairs are 95% complete, sir. Reactor cores stable. Nova array recalibrated." Reyes nodded absently. "And the crew?" "Tired," Blake said. "But ready. They're waiting for what comes next." Reyes stopped by the viewport. Outside, Earth glowed beneath them, blue, fragile, beautiful. "What comes next," he murmured, "depends on how fast they come for us." Blake frowned. "You think the Dominion will risk another strike?" Reyes' jaw tightened. "They can't afford not to." They didn't have to wait long. 3 weeks later, deep space reconnaissance detected a gravitational anomaly near Alpha Centauri, the Dominion warfront. A fleet larger than anything in known history was gathering, not to invade, but to erase. General Marcus Hale called it the Heavens Counterstrike. Every human ship, every dreadnought, carrier, and strike craft was mobilized. But all eyes were on one ship, the TSV Leviathan. Its arrival on the front lines sent waves of awe and courage through the Terran fleet. Pilots saluted. Ground crews touched its hull as if it were sacred. Because everyone knew, where the Leviathan went, humanity's fate followed. The Dominion fleet emerged like a storm of suns, tens of thousands of warships, blotting out the stars over Centauri Prime. The sheer scale of it made lesser commanders tremble. At the center of their armada stood a new colossus, the God-King vessel Zarul, dwarfing even the titans the Leviathan had destroyed. The sovereign himself commanded from its throne bridge, his forearms clasped in ritual steel. "End them," he said. "Let this be the day the stars forget their name." The Leviathan's bridge was calm. Too calm. Captain Reyes stood before the holomap, a swirling projection of two galaxies colliding in miniature. Around him, the bridge crew waited, hearts steady, hands poised. He spoke quietly. They call themselves gods. No one answered. They think because they've ruled the stars for millennia, they have the right to decide who breathes. Still silence. Reyes turned, eyes blazing. But today, they face humanity. And we don't kneel to gods. The crew erupted in a low murmur, not a cheer, but the sound of belief. He raised his hand. Helm full burn. Weapons lock on the Zarul. Let's remind them why the heavens trembled when we arrived. The two fleets clashed. It wasn't war, it was apocalypse. Energy beams crossed light years in seconds. Entire moons shattered under the crossfire. Terran carriers launched wave after wave of strike craft, weaving between Dominion dreadnoughts like sparks through a storm. And in the heart of the chaos, the Leviathan charged. Its engines roared, creating gravitational ripples that tore smaller ships apart just from proximity. Plasma bursts rained upon it, but its armor, reforged from neutron alloys, held fast. Shield output down to 40%. Blake shouted. Keep pushing. Reyes barked. Nova array to full charge. Sir, that'll burn the core. Then let it burn. Inside the Dominion flagship, the Sovereign watched the Leviathan approach. So, they seek to strike a god, he hissed. Then let them witness divinity. Range, 1,000 kilometers. Blake shouted. Prepare for ramming vector, Reyes said. Blake turned, shocked. Sir? Reyes met his gaze, calm, resolute. They built that ship to rule the stars. We built ours to protect home. Let's see whose purpose burns brighter. The Leviathan accelerated, reactors overloading, hull plates melting from the strain. The Zarul unleashed every weapon in its arsenal, beams, torpedoes, gravitic waves, but the Leviathan tore through them like a storm through rain. Inside, alarms screamed, decks buckled, systems collapsed, but the crew held their posts. Collision in 5 seconds. Blake shouted. Reyes looked out at the Dominion flagship, eyes full of fire. For Earth, he whispered. The Leviathan struck. The impact wasn't just physical, it was cosmic. The Nova array detonated simultaneously, channeling its entire reactor core into a final, focused burst. The explosion ripped the Zarul apart from within, tearing its god engine to pieces. The shockwave spread across the system, shredding the Dominion formation. From Earth to the edge of the stars, every sensor recorded the same event. The Dominion's heart broken. In the aftermath, silence fell across the galaxy. The Dominion fleets scattered. Their empires, once eternal, fractured under the weight of disbelief. Worlds long enslaved by them rose in rebellion. The age of gods was over. And at the center of the wreckage, among drifting ruins and fading light, the Leviathan floated, dark, scarred, but still intact. Aboard what remained of the command deck, Lieutenant Blake woke to static and smoke. Captain, he croaked. Reyes? No answer. Then, through the haze, he saw him, Captain Reyes, standing by the cracked viewport, watching the burning remains of the Dominion flagship drift away. Blake stumbled to his side. We did it, he whispered. Reyes nodded slowly. No, he said softly. Humanity did. He placed a hand on the viewport glass. Beyond it, new stars were forming, born from the ashes of the old. Send this transmission, he said. To every world still listening. Blake activated the comms. Recording. Reyes took a breath. This is Captain Aaron Reyes of the Terran ship Leviathan. The Dominion has fallen. The heavens themselves have bled. To every world that was ever told to kneel, rise. Humanity stands with you. He paused, his voice soft but steady. And to those who would threaten our world again. Remember what happened when Earth's mightiest ship arrived. Hours later, the Terran fleet gathered around the silent giant. The Leviathan drifted like a monument in the light of Centauri's sun, a scarred guardian watching over a new dawn. On Earth, as the transmission spread, billions stood in streets and fields and stations, looking up at the sky. They saw not stars, but promises.